So, how do you become a bookkeeper with no experience? There's not many jobs out there that you can give you don't have any experience. But with bookkeeping, it's a little different. You just need to know how to do it. You don't necessarily have to have experience just yet. Now, I know this because I interviewed two moms. One of them is a mom of nine guys. She has nine kids, homeschooled six of them. And the reason she was able to have a successful bookkeeping business is because the work is so flexible. So the typical amount that people are charging their clients is $500 a month. But guess how much time they spend on their clients' work? It's typically like less than an hour, like 1 hour of work for $500 every single month. There is no other job that can say that. And $500 is average. I pay my bookkeeper $750 a month. So I know it only takes not even an hour. But what I have learned is that I'm gonna just focus on what drives the needle and outsource the rest. Now, the woman I interviewed with 9 kids, she had no experience. She just took a course to learn everything that she needed to know. And then she just got started. So today I get the honor of speaking to the CEO of the course that she took, and he is also a bookkeeper charging $900 an hour. So in this video, you're gonna learn exactly how to become a bookkeeper with no experience, how to get clients, and how to get started. If that's what you wanna learn, you wanna watch this video. You guys ready to get into it? Let's go. Hi, Jamie. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Awesome. I'm glad to be here, Whitney. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So can we first get started and to give us a little bit about your background? How did you become the CEO of bookkeepers.com?
Yeah, it was quite a bit of a journey. I actually am a student of the course of Bookkeeper Launch. I purchased it back in 2017. No different than any other student. I Googled how to start a bookkeeping business because I saw it was something that I can really get started. And really, my goal was to work from home. I purchased it in 2017. I started the course. I got my first client within 3 months. Within a couple of months of that, I get my second client. The next thing you know, I'm making enough money where I'm finally supplemented enough of what I was making in my full-time job. And I was doing great. And then 2019 comes around and we actually, bookkeepers.com was looking for someone that could help on a part-time position with students. And so I was like, hey, you know what? I'm doing pretty good on my bookkeeping business and I have the time. Why not give back to the community? So 2019, I joined in just part-time working with the company. And then I slowly moved up the ladder, I guess. And then I think it was 2021, I became the curriculum manager where I was managing the curriculum.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just going through all of the lessons, making sure that, if the lesson said this, that we are actually delivering on it, that kind of thing. And then just 2023, I started actually recording the lessons. So we re-recorded some of the longer lessons, and I redid all of that as you may know, QuickBooks updates so often. So we were like, all right, we're due for a change. So 2023, I re-recorded a bunch of those lessons, and 2024 was a huge blessing when I got moved. I got the position of CEO, and that's been super exciting. And I think one of the coolest things about it was that I still run. People ask, are you still running your bookkeeping business? And I do. That's been so awesome for me to be able to drink the Kool-Aid, so to speak, as a student, and then just give back to the community and be where I am today because of it.
Wow. Now this is like really the top 5 work from home job that I recommend because of the flexibility and the income, of course, because you're able to literally run a company and still have a bookkeeping business on the side. So, and like we love numbers just to inspire us. So, like, what were you charging when you first started with your own bookkeeping business? And then what are you still charging your clients today?
Yeah, so when I first started, and I think this is pretty common for most of us when we're first starting, we actually tend to underprice. So what we teach is we say at a minimum, charge about $400 a month for a smaller client, and that is a small client. So if you think about if that's a small client, that means that the majority aren't going to be those $400 a month clients. They're
Right.
probably going to be a little bit more than that. I was a scaredy cat, Whitney. I actually, even though the course said charge this much, I was like, I should probably charge a little less than that. And I did. I ended up charging about $300 a month. And now I have raised my rates. And with those clients, I have clients from 2017 that are still clients today that I've even tripled in price. And they've stuck around with me. But now my minimum is about 750. My average $750 a month per client, and my average is a little bit closer to $900 per client.
Oh, wow. And like for those clients, how much time does, let's just, for example, one of those clients, how much would that take? How much time would that take?
Yeah, so I would say maybe an $800 to $900 client. I think that that would take me right between 5 to 10 hours, really, depending on,
Wow.
and that's a month, right? So if you think about it, that's, I mean, imagine making that in a job, right? Like where you're working 5 to 10 hours a month and
A
getting eight hundred
month.
dollars. Like that's unheard of, really, as an employee.
That's amazing. Okay, well, let's get into like the basics. So, what do bookkeepers do?
Yeah, so I like to really, because I think a lot of people tend to be a little scared of numbers. Unless you're like me, I've always kind of something about, I guess it's my dad, who's always ingrained numbers in me and said you have to be good with numbers. So I've always been good with numbers regardless. But I don't think, contrary to popular belief, I don't think you have to be this mathematician. You don't have to know algebra or any trigonomics or anything that's complicated. All it really is you're just categorizing things. You're just saying you're organizing. If you like to
Yeah,
organize, I think you would be perfect for a bookkeeper. I'm an organization freak. I can't. My desk has to be clear, or I can't work. If you're that person like me, where things have to be really tidy, I think you have the mind of a bookkeeper. And don't let the numbers scare you. It's all you're doing is organizing numbers. You're not necessarily doing these crazy
yeah.
complex formulas.
No, I love that. And I like how you just simplified that because I know a little bit about bookkeeping and but I have a bookkeeper that does mine. And I used to do it at first, and that's literally all it is. It's just organizing your information to make it,
Yeah.
make it make sense. And so what are the requirements? Are there any special requirements in order to become a bookkeeper, or can anyone just become a bookkeeper?
So that's I think the beauty of it, and it's also it's like the gift and the curse of it. Anybody can become a bookkeeper, right? You can wake up one morning and say, "Hey, I'm a bookkeeper." Call yourself a bookkeeper and market yourself as a bookkeeper. Nobody's stopping you from it. There's no organization that's telling you
Yeah,
you can't call yourself that, right? The beauty of it is that anybody can become a bookkeeper at any point. You don't have to have a degree or of any kind. You can learn this skill that's very much needed all across the world, and become a good bookkeeper. The bad thing is that means that it could also attract bad bookkeepers, right?
yeah,
But for those looking to really excel and really learn the craft, I think it's so nice that it doesn't matter what your background is. I love that we have students. I always like to hear like where they come from. Like we have people on staff, right, that are they were school teachers turned bookkeepers, and all kinds of different where all kinds of different places where they worked at before. I worked at a law firm before this too, before I became a bookkeeper. And so I love that you can come in from with any kind of background, as long as you like I said, organizing numbers. I think you'll be in good company there.
I love that. Okay, now when it comes to just getting started, like what are the things that you need? If I say, okay, I want to become a bookkeeper, what do I need? I mean, obviously, like a laptop, but I'm talking about like, are there any other things that I need to get started to start this business?
So the number one thing would be actually like learning the skill, right? Obviously,
Yeah.
that would be one. But like as far as like the cost goes of becoming a bookkeeper, I think that's why it's such. You said this is one of like your top five things that you say like work from home jobs, because the barrier of entry is so low. Most of us have a laptop. If you're watching this video, you have a laptop. You and I have a laptop, obviously here recording. So if you have that and you have internet, you have the equipment to become a bookkeeper.
Yeah.
What you need now is the skill and obviously some knowledge of the software. So QuickBooks being one of the leaders in it. There's also a few others that you can learn. But I'm a believer that if you really master the bookkeeping skill itself, it doesn't matter what software you use. You'll be able to work with any of them. But those are really the three main things, right? Your skill, having the skill of bookkeeping, having a laptop and internet, and then having some knowledge of the software as well.
No, that's good. And I'm going to talk about how, we could learn more about becoming a bookkeeper. But I do want to ask, like, when it comes to how much time it takes, because I love talking about the flexibility. But
Yeah,
like realistically, like how much time does it take for you to work on clients' books? And I know it's not every client's going to be different. But
sure.
can you just talk about some typical or common examples of how much time it does take for people who are just getting started?
Yeah, so like for a smaller client, it's really just a few hours. I would say under 5 hours a month.
Wow.
And to kind of describe what you would be doing is you're categorizing these transactions either daily, maybe weekly, and just putting them in little buckets. You know, you're saying this was for office supplies, this is for postage, this is for repairs, and then at the end of the month, the software you can pull a report, and then you can decipher and read that financial statement to that client. And I say financial statement. I know that like some of those words can be scary for somebody that's like, you know, what the heck is a financial statement? Or, you know, I need more information about what that is. It's just a report that's saying, hey, this is what you did this month. This is what you classified in each of these different buckets. And this is just a way for you to then spend some time with your client and saying, hey, this is what your financials look like this month. So, you know, categorizing those transactions for a smaller client on a weekly basis, maybe 30 minutes to an hour.
Wow.
And yeah, and I think that's where the bulk of your time goes is just classifying those transactions.
Wow.
And then the end, if you've done that throughout the month, let's say it takes you an hour a week. If you've done that throughout the month, the last part is just doing some quality control, looking through those financials, making sure you didn't make a mistake, you didn't classify
Yeah.
postage when it should have been a repairs and that kind of thing.
Yeah. No, I love that. Now, with the rise of AI, I get this question sometimes too. Well, why can they just use AI? What would be your response to someone asking a question like that?
So AI is awesome. I'm actually a big proponent of AI, and it's a scary thing. And I think everyone should have like I guess a healthy fear of it, right? I don't believe that it's after our jobs. It's a tool, right? So just like I look at even maybe 15 years ago, the software to use QuickBooks as an example looked completely different.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't online. It was you had to go to somebody's desktop to your workspace and work there, right? You couldn't take it
Wow.
home with you. And now where it's at is you could work on QuickBooks on your phone. So I just see AI as that next evolution of it. And as bookkeepers, I think we should, again, I said have a healthy fear of it, but embrace it and use it to your advantage. Heck, that's what I use now. If I ever have a complex situation with the client, instead of Googling it, I'll go to Chat GPT and start using that and to kind of give me some ideas of how to handle a situation. So not only can I use it myself, but there's a bunch of software that's using AI to enhance um, that that those problems that you may have. Like some softwares will connect to QuickBooks and can help you identify some transactions as well and help you with that. So, is it after your job? No, it is something that's going to help you. And I think if a client were to come to me and say, "What do I need you for?" when I can just kind of use AI, they'd have to be a very, very dedicated individual to do their job as the business owner and then
Yeah.
also do the bookkeeping. So I don't think it's not a problem. In fact, it's just something that is there to help us.
Yeah. And that's why I think this is such nothing that's gonna go away because it's even a trust factor.
Yeah.
It's not even just a trust factor, it's an ability factor. AI cannot do my bookkeeping, they just cannot. And so that's why I love talking about it because as a business owner myself, I have a bookkeeper. I actually pay $750 a month, and I know it does not take that much time, but as a business owner, I'm gonna stay in my lane. I don't have time to focus on something or try to figure something out when I just don't have the know-how. I'll just pay someone who knows how to do it, and I just know and have that confidence that it's taken care of, and I can move on and work on things that are actually gonna drive the needle of my business. So that's why I love talking about becoming a bookkeeper because if this is something you want to do, it's something that business owners need. I'm proof
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah. And
Um, Go ahead.
Whitney, and sorry to interrupt, but I was going to use you as an example. I think you're the perfect person to use as an example because you're a smart business owner, and that's the kind of business owners you do want to work with.
That's
If
true.
if you get a business owner that says I can do this myself or I can find somebody to do this for pennies on the dollar, that's not the person you want to work with. There's plenty of business owners like yourself that are saying, I don't have time to do this. I'm going to focus on my business and growing my business. Why spend hours trying to figure out bookkeeping when there's somebody that is an expert already that I can hire to do that for me?
Right. Exactly. Now that's actually a good question. When it comes to clients, I think this is a big fear. It's like, okay, I want to become a bookkeeper, but how do I get business? Can you
Yeah.
speak to that?
Yeah, so it's and that's the hardest part, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Learning the skill of bookkeeping, while it's difficult, if you're a motivated individual, I think anybody can do it. the problem is, can you get a client, right? You're not a business owner. You can learn all the skills, but unless you have a client, you're not technically a business owner. You don't have a business. So how we do in Bookkeeper Launch, we do teach you how to market yourself. The number one thing, and this is how I got my first two clients, is I just told everybody that I knew about my bookkeeping business.
Mhm.
I used, when I mentioned that I worked at a law firm, I told all the lawyers, all the law clerks, everybody, the paralegals, that I was starting a bookkeeping business. And that's how I had an attorney. I contacted another attorney. And next thing you know, I have my first client right away.
Wow.
That is one of the things that we talk about in the course. There's a bunch of different ways. There's different apps that you can use, like Upwork, also Thumbtack, which is actually how I got another one of my clients. And that's just to name a few. I can't think of other ones where you can go
Yeah. No, that's
actually.
really good. And but one thing I know, like there are some people out there that are like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to tell anybody that I have a business. And I know
Yeah.
offline we were talking about one thing that's so great about Bookkeepers Launch is that you guys have something inside the community for only people for community for where they can actually get jobs. Can you talk to that about what's inside where they
Yeah.
can
So
go ahead?
yeah. So like if you're going through the course, or let's say you completed the course and you're not quite ready to start your own business, or you're not ready to take on your clients by yourself, I will say that if you went through the course and you got your certificate through us, you're 100% ready. But I totally get it. I was there too. When you get through it and you're like, I don't know that I want to go out to the real world and do this on my own, or I don't, like you said, maybe I don't want to publish that I'm doing this now and let the whole world know about it.
Yeah.
So we do have a directory within the course. So, for example, I'm actually in there. Let's say I have a successful bookkeeping business and I'm looking for help. Well, it's an internal directory. Nobody can access it other than our students, right? I can look for people within the course that have completed the course and say, let's say Whitney, you're in there as a student that completed the course, and I say I need a couple of candidates. I'll contact you, maybe a couple of others in there that fit what I need. Maybe whether that's just reconciling or categorizing transactions on a monthly basis, maybe quality control, whatever that may be. I can find people that are specialized in that, or that maybe, for example, maybe you only want to work in a certain position. I can hire you to work with me. So I think that's one of the coolest things that we have is a directory where, hey, you're not in this alone, right? And we never.
Yeah.
That's our goal, is to never make you feel like you're alone. Not only are we there to support you, but if you still feel like you want to work under somebody, we provide that connection between you and another Bookkeeper Launch student.
Yeah, I love that because so one of the things that even drew me to you guys was the mom that I interviewed. She had 9 kids and has homeschooled 6 of them. And I was like, how in the world did you become a bookkeeper? And she didn't have any experience. And I was like, how did you do that? And she took the course. The course was all she
Yeah.
needed. And one thing that I love about it is that she also was able to get jobs from people from the group. So that's why I was like, okay, that's like up my alley because I'm not the type of girl that wants to tell everybody what I'm doing. I rather just
I
kind of
get
like
that.
start small and without telling people before so I can gain that confidence. So I
Yep.
feel like that's something that's so great about what you guys have for people who are like that because not everyone is
Yes.
like you were that doesn't mind
Yeah.
telling everybody, hey, I got a book business.
Yeah, yeah, and we actually have somebody on staff. So one of the things that I think we do that's unique, maybe it's not that unique, but I love that we do it at least, is that most of us that are working within bookkeepers.com, we have a bookkeeping business, and part of that is because we want to prove that not only can you do this
Oh, I like that.
while you have a full-time job, but we're showing you that you can. And that reminded me because we have somebody on staff, Heidi, who's our CSO, has 4 kids, homeschools them, has a bookkeeping business, and she works with us. And I'm like, I feel like I'm so busy. I'm like, I don't know how you do it. I feel like she's superwoman. And it's so cool to be able to see people that have really changed their lives, right, because of this.
Yeah, no, I love that. That's amazing. So, okay, so if someone wanted to get started with becoming a big, like, that's my question. I wanted to say, like, how do you learn how to become a bookkeeper with no experience?
Yeah, so you would go through the course, right? And we teach you everything. We'll teach you from foundations, everything. You don't need to know anything to come in. We'll teach you A to Z. It doesn't matter what your background is. We're going to teach you right from the get-go as if you don't know anything. Whether you don't know anything about bookkeeping or you're an expert and you just are joining us because you want that support, we're still going to teach you right from the start, right? And the way that we have it laid out is a 90-day plan, which I think is pretty sweet. You know, to think that you
Yeah.
can really change your life in 90 days is pretty awesome. So when you go through the course, we start out with foundations. We move you on to working directly with the software within, I think, 15 days.
Oh,
So yeah,
good.
that's what it is, day 16. So in day 16, you start working with software. And as you guys know, when you go through um, like a college course, you might go through a whole semester and you don't even touch software. And that's
Yeah.
one of the most frustrating things, because then you have this degree and you're like, okay, but when I go out in the real world, we're not doing this on pen and paper. We're doing this on software. So, day 16, we start teaching you how to use the software. So, while it's important to know the foundations, we want to directly just kind of, there's no fluff, right? We take you
Yeah.
straight into the software and teach you, hey, this is what we learned in foundations. And now this is how it's applied on software now. And so we teach you that. And then where I really think that where you really make your money as a bookkeeper is to be able to understand those statements at the end of the month and explain them to your client. And
Yeah.
when you understand the foundations of bookkeeping, you're able to really understand those a lot better.
No, I love that. Okay, that's awesome. And so I know if you guys are, to my audience, if you guys are interested and you think like maybe there is a free workshop that I want you guys to go ahead and take. It's going to teach you everything to let you at least know if this is right for you or not. So I'm going to put that link in the description below. And Jamie, last thing, what did I say? I said three top tips to become a successful bookkeeper.
Yeah. So number one is going to be discipline. And I say number one because that is the most important thing, not motivation, but discipline. Because
Yeah.
like I said, I went through the course, and although it's laid out in 90 days, I was so motivated month one where I was just zooming through it. And then I lost a little bit of that. And it was only that discipline that got me through those last 60 days. So
Yeah.
I would say the discipline is number one, to be able to do this, knowing that this has the potential to change your life right after this. Number two is being open-minded to learn something new.
Yeah.
I explained. I like to explain this as learning a whole new language. You're starting something that you've never heard of before. So just kind of being open-minded and being willing to learn. And I think the last thing is going to be, and it kind of goes with the second one, is to be teachable. So we offer a ton of support through the course. Like I said, we don't like you to feel like you're alone. We offer live coaching calls twice a week. So we're in there to help you out. So if you are teachable, come in there and learn. Challenge us. I love it when students come in and it's like, well, why is it this, right? And why is
Yeah.
that? And because I know that that's a curious mind that's willing to learn and be teachable. So
Yeah.
I think if you have those three things, and if I would add a fourth one,
Yeah, go
a
ahead.
bonus one is to feel, if you feel a little fear, do it anyway. So
Yes.
even if you're a little scared, just go through with it. So that would be the bonus fourth one.
I love that. That's like my whole motto. Just do it.
Yeah,
Do it anyway. Who cares what you think, other people think, whatever. Just do it anyway.
exactly.
I
Yep.
love this. Is so helpful. Now you guys have an insight into how to become a bookkeeper with no experience. So I'm gonna drop the link in the description below on how you can access this free workshop to really see, is this right for you or not? And as always, guys, thanks for watching. Have a great day. Any questions, put in the comments below.